forging of credit apps, power bookings, tax returns, falsified tax returns, taking people's cars in on trades, not paying them off. I mean, they did deceptive advertising. I don't know how illegal that is, but...
Scott Russ is another former finance director turned whistleblower who has consulted with Overholt and filed suit. Russ says that during his 2 years at Suncoast Ford, he was frequently threatened for refusing to cheat customers. Citing fear for his job and his family's safety, he asked that we meet him at an undisclosed location along the interstate. Russ says the message throughout the dealership was clear: get the sale, no matter what it takes. Those who couldn't afford to buy a car could always be set up with hefty bank loans at subprime rates. Russ claims that salesmen routinely use TurboTax to create fake IRS documents.
They're making their own W-2s. They hooked up with an accountant to make tax returns. Because with subprimes, they look for proof of income. Well, they got a hold of somebody to make whatever proof of income that was needed to get the deal funded.
Although rare in the industry overall, one common swindle reported at dealerships owned by Buchanan is known as power booking. That's when a dealer lies to the bank, falsely reporting that cars are loaded with luxury options when they aren't. The bank ends up approving loans for more money than the car is worth. The difference goes to the dealer, and the buyer doesn't even know it's happening. Customer Eva Baza says a Buchanan dealership, Sarasota Ford, did it to her.
I just bought just a regular old Mustang. It was a V6, it's a convertible, and it was red. Okay. It has power seats, power locks, and that kind of stuff. But by the time the bank got it with my falsification, it was a GT, Shelby, it was a V8, it was loaded, it had a Sirius radio, and a 6-changer CD.
But it doesn't have any of those things.
It doesn't have any of those things, and I'm being charged for it.
Eve says she ended up paying $25,000 for a car that should have cost about $15,000. The lawsuits piling up against Representative Buchanan claim he knew thousands of customers like Eva Baza were being cheated on a routine basis.
It's very clear by the documents themselves that illegal acts took place against the consumers, tax issues, against the state of Florida, okay? But it also shows that these same issues surely reflect that the employees were also ripped off. That the only one that really benefited, and benefited the most, was the corporation. And the corporation was run by Buchanan.
I'm Vern Buchanan. I approve this message because we must cut the waste.
After featuring his auto sales experience in his first run for Congress,
I'm a businessman, not a professional politician.
This year, Buchanan is intent on creating distance between himself and his troubled dealerships.
If any of the allegations about fraud in the dealerships prove to be correct, what will you do to correct them?
Well, again, I don't work in the dealerships. We have a corporate group that deals with that.
The last couple of years since he's been in Congress, no, he probably hasn't had any dealing with any of his stores. Right. That much I believe. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that. But before he was in Congress, he was involved day to day in the stores. His office was at Sarasota Ford. He was there every day. To say that he's hands off and he doesn't have any knowledge of the day to day goings on of the store is just not plausible. It doesn't make any sense. Somebody that owns 51% of a multi-million-dollar business knows what's going on in their store day to day.
You know, it's amazing watching TV and seeing some of the things that I've seen on TV where he's been asked in certain situations, do you know what's going on in your businesses? Do you know this is happening? And, you know, he shrugs his shoulders and he shrugs himself to it. I have no idea what's going on. That's why I have people in place. If he doesn't know what's going on, what is he doing with these businesses? He's not a proper businessman. He should be knowing. It's his, I mean, that's his responsibility.
Is it plausible that he wouldn't know what's going on?
There's no way.
Buchanan's troubles may just be beginning. The latest accusation against Buchanan may be the most explosive. Richard Thomas, a former director of fixed operations at Sarasota Ford, filed a lawsuit on August 7th, alleging that Buchanan imported illegal immigrants to work on his $8 million home on Longboat Key. Other employees claimed that the immigrants slept at the dealership and that Buchanan's brother used a Sarasota Ford van to transport the workers to and from Buchanan's home. Richard Thomas said he fears retribution, and he declined to appear on camera. But after a public forum, AMP asked Buchanan about Thomas's charges.
Do you categorically deny that you or your brother or your businesses have ever hired illegal or undocumented immigrants?
Not that I know of. I don't do that.
So
Thank
not on
you.
the construction of your house?
No. I mean, it's nonsense.
The border's still not secure.
Buchanan has taken a hard line against undocumented immigrants in his brief career on Capitol Hill, co-sponsoring a bill to make English the official language of the United States.
Independent, fighting for change.
When asked to respond to a detailed list of questions, Buchanan spokesperson Sally Tibbetts replied with a one-sentence email. "These are absurd, politically motivated statements," she wrote, "being made by former disgruntled workers." AMP asked the congressman how he planned to respond to the allegations if they turned out to be true.
Would you take any position on
No, I don't.
how this
No.
should be remedied?
No,
if
I-
fraud
no.
charges prove to be...
Well, first off, that's going to be way after the election, but the operating partners do that. I don't do that.
In case you didn't catch that,
Well, first off, that's going to be way after the election.
this time around, Vern Buchanan seems to feel safer, saying he's not a businessman, but rather a politician.